What's up, SVSers? Welcome to our favorite time of the week, the SVS Audiophile Happy Hour. I believe this is episode number, can you believe it? 78. The 78th one. I think I have to count every single one now because we're above 75. So I'm just going to list it out. Welcome,
what a
gentlemen.
coincidence. That's as old as I feel.
Well, you're not going to catch up, I don't think, to the happy hour number, which is a good thing. So I'll just go around and say hello to everyone. For people who might be joining for the first time, I'm Nick, the VP of SVS. Joining me to my right would be Larry Magoo, our National Training Manager. Larry, how are you?
I am good, sir. I'm got up early this morning and left DC and flew back home. So I am glad to be here with you guys and not in a hotel.
It is nice to see you back at home with all your decor. It is always a pleasure.
My mess of an office.
Right below me, we have our sage of AV, our Director of Technology, Ed Mullen. Ed, how are you this evening?
I'm doing grand, Nick.
Great.
Enjoying a beautiful spring day here in upstate New York.
Ed has some super secret product in his house, which we're not going to talk about tonight, but I just learned about that today, and I didn't realize you were already testing this super secret product. So very exciting there. And again, that's all you're getting out of me. But
we're not supposed to talk about the new microwave, man. Come on.
The super secret products do make their way through certain employees' homes, and mine's one of them.
Very cool. And of course, we have our president, Gary Yakubian, who is home after an exciting weekend on the road. And how are you tonight, Gary?
Yeah, I'm just loving it, watching the comments, and everybody's saying where they are, different all over the country, even some people out of the country. And it's just the best feeling in the world to be with our SVS community.
I completely agree. And for those of you who may be joining us for the first time, we will have 3 fantastic giveaways tonight. All you got to do to be eligible is to leave a comment. We will pick names at random, announce
one
them
comment.
on the air. One comment is all you need. If you leave 100
comments will not help you.
That's right. And
if you have something to say, of course, please comment as many times as you want to.
Exactly. We love the back and forth. We love to see conversations happening in the comments, but you get one entry. And those 3 giveaways tonight, Larry, did you take notes? What do we got on tap for giveaways?
We're going to kick things off with an SB1000 Pro subwoofer. Then after that, a pair of Prime bookshelf speakers. And wrapping up the evening will be a PB1000 Pro with the SoundPath Subwoofer Cable. So we've got all that ready to go for you guys tonight. So just keep commenting and saying what's up and have fun.
Absolutely. Let us know where you're chatting in from. We always love to see the different parts of the country and the world where our community is joining us. So we love that.
I think it's cool when someone chimes in from your hometown. I mean, it's happened to me a bunch of times. I'm in the Rochester, New York area, and it's just so cool to see some fans tuning in from my area.
Absolutely. And being from Rhode Island, like our whole state is like one city. So when I see those comments, I'm just like, oh, gotta be neighbors. And, kudos for all that. So we're going to stick with our tradition and go through some of the content listening that we've been doing over the past couple weeks before we dive into some other discussions. And we will have an extended Q&A evening addressing some questions that were holdovers about the new Ultra Evolution speakers and anything else you guys want to ask about as well. And Larry, I'm going to kick it to you first. I know you've been on the road and I know you have some things you want to listen to as we go to some upcoming events, but what have you been enjoying recently?
Well, yeah, I've been on the planes a lot and traveling. And last week I was in Los Angeles and started The Gentleman on Netflix and got through about half of that and then finished that today on my flight back from DC. Enjoyed that one. Can't tell if I really liked it a ton, but it was enjoyable. Then watched Fallout, which was pretty interesting and fun. But the highlight of the last 2 weeks for me was when I was in LA last week. The Mavericks and the Clippers are playing in the first round of the playoffs, and I scored an awesome seat to the game Tuesday night and got to see the Mavericks win in LA, which was awesome. Never been to a road playoff game, so that was really cool.
Very cool. Hey, I have never been to a playoff game stuff. Now, Ed, you've got this new product, and again, no secrets here, but have you been demoing any of your favorite content or fresh tracks on it, and what has that content be?
I have been demoing a lot of content. It's two things significant to me anyway. As Iggy Pop's 77th birthday came across my news feed, and he's kind of the godfather of punk. So I sort of went down that rabbit hole and been kind of listening to like the Sex Pistols, Dead Kennedys, the Ramones, the Clash. So that's been kind of cool. And the legendary Dickie Betts passed away, sort of the heart and soul of the Allman Brothers. And I've been taking a trip down memory lane and playing. I grew up with the Allman Brothers and playing a lot of their music as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up. I had, I wouldn't say I really met Dickie Betts, but I did shake his hand backstage at the Beacon Street Theater in New York, where the Allman Brothers for a long time, I think they did like 20 concerts in a row every year. And I was just able to say hi to him real quick. But what an epic jam band and just a legend musical act they were.
Just an incredible musician and larger than life right up until the very end.
Absolutely. Well, I'll get to you last, Gary. I do want to talk about this concert that we were able to go to together, and then hear about the other concert that you went to this weekend. But I watched Rebel Moon, the second one, which Larry couldn't even make it through like the first 8 minutes.
That's right, man.
My wife actually suggested it, I think, because she thought there would be sort of a mutual interest, and we did watch the first one, which it feels very much like a Star Wars ripoff. And there was a few subwoofer moments within it that, made it moderately redeemable, but it definitely does not have the same, storyline, plot appeal that Star Wars doesn't come close. So it was very much just like candy watching.
It was originally pitched as a Star Wars movie, and it didn't get chosen. So he took it off to Netflix and did his own thing there.
Yeah. And then to keep with the theme of space travel, I did watch Spaceman with Adam Sandler. It's his new, very serious flick, which is just super duper weird. He's alone by himself in a spaceship on a mission, and just some weird stuff happens. So again, not a great surround sound subwoofer demo, but more of a mind tease kind of thing if you're into that kind of thing. And then Gary and I had the opportunity after Axpona to go see Yo-Yo Ma live. And I'll just leave it at that, because Gary, I want to hear your thoughts before I share mine. But that was just
Well, you should say it.
I think one of the things
that was your first time in the Kennedy Center too, so it was a great experience for you, I think.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to ask you, in a venue like that, I did not notice any amplification, any speakers, anything that was projecting the music that they were playing beyond their actual instruments. Was I just not seeing it, or we were super close, so I couldn't really tell? But the acoustics in that place were just insane.
So the purpose of a concert hall in classical music is that there should be zero amplification, and there's none. And when somebody spoke to you, I think our friend Jenny, who you had dinner with later, spoke to us. She used a microphone with amplifier, but that's the only time you're going to hear an amplifier. I don't even think when Yo-Yo Ma was talking, or when Catherine Stott was talking, did they use a microphone? They may have. Oh, no, they did. But that's the only time you're going to hear anything amplified. That's the beauty of a concert hall. It's organized so that the sound of acoustic instruments fills the hall. Now, you had pretty damn good seats, Nick, so
that's why I wasn't sure.
It sounded better for you than probably somebody in the balcony.
Yeah, I was curious if those people that were in the last row were getting the same experience I was. And I imagine, the acoustics are different back there, so it can't be the same. But still, that, the design of a building to be able to create that sort of sonic experience is special.
Well, I will say this, if you want to really get technical, Yo-Yo Ma and Catherine Stott, she's a piano player. It was a beautiful concert. It was some music that I'm not totally familiar with. Even so, I absolutely adored it. That kind of a concert should be in a smaller room, but they're such big stars that it was in the concert hall. And in fact, was it Tuesday night? Yeah, Tuesday night, I went to the same concert hall, and I saw just an absolutely brilliant concert. It was a full orchestra. And it was absolutely amazing. And that's really what that concert hall is for. In fact, Kennedy Center has a smaller theater called the Terrace Theater, where you would see what's called chamber music, where it's just a person playing a piano alone, or in that case cello and piano, or a string quartet. You usually would have it in a smaller room. But those are big stars, and you saw how excited people were to be there, and I know you guys were.
Well, so that was one of the things I wanted to call out. Was the first is just how much like emotion they can convey by, you know, playing louder, playing quieter, playing faster, playing slower. And, you know, I never really had that experience firsthand, you know, in a live concert with that kind of chamber music. So I thought that was really cool. And then just back to the acoustics of the building, like there were moments when they were playing and it got really sort of soft and you could hear like people many rows behind you, like crying, like sniffling, because they were having that sort of emotional moment. And the acoustics like just made you like, you turn around, it's like, is somebody sniffling? And that part was like sort of moving in its own way to see that it could take people to that level of an emotional reaction.
People were really happy to be there. I think that was a really, I mean, you picked the show of the year to come to. That was a really fun show. And Nick forgot his tickets, so he had to turn around.
I was hoping you would bring that up. I really was.
But I have friends there, and they had organized a meet and greet of Yo-Yo Ma, and I got to meet him. And Nick I made a whole bunch of drama to get Nick and Alex, his wife, invited, and then Nick forgot the tickets, so he had to miss the meet and greet.
Well, to my in my defense, our babysitter was late. We had our child with us, and we were at a hotel. So yada yada yada. So I will carry that regret for the rest of my life. But I got a picture of you.
You know what? They're not themselves. They just you didn't miss that much, but it was kind of cool.
No, I'm sure it was. So I know that you know, complete departure from Yo-Yo Ma. You hit up another show this weekend. What was that all about?
I got a last minute idea. And I was, my younger son, Chris, lives with us. He's 23. And I said, hey, Chris, what if there's a band we all love called System of a Down? You guys know who System of a Down is. They don't tour. They play like one show a year. And they were playing in Vegas. And I had miles. I had comp rooms in Vegas because of we spent money during CES and so forth. And so I said, Chris, would you go? And he's like, yeah, pretty much. I probably would. And then he said, but if John goes, who's our my older son, he's 26. He's like 100% I'll go. So I reached out to John. And anyway, long story, not short yet. I guess it's still long, but we went to the three of us. John flew from New York, Chris and I from DC, went to Vegas and saw Sick New World, which is this metal-y kind of festival in Vegas. And we saw a lot of music. We saw a Perfect Circle, which I love. That's the side project of Maynard James Keenan, the Tool singer. We saw Slipknot, Bring Me the Horizon, SVS Lovers. We saw Danny Elfman. I have no idea what he was doing there, but his final song was the theme from The Simpsons, which was totally weird. But then we saw System of a Down, which was absolutely epic. And so that was a great time. I, of course, slept when I was supposed to, but my sons basically, when we weren't seeing music, they were gambling, so they basically got no sleep. But it was a fun trip for my sons and I. So, and I want to say, because nobody's saying it, I am listening to the new Taylor Swift album. It is sprawling. It is 31 songs.
I don't think anyone asked, but okay.
No one's asking. But I'm supposed to say what I listened to and watched, don't I?
That is true. I did. I asked vaguely, so we should have. I guess we should have expected to circle back there.
And it's taking a lot of abuse from people who don't know what they're talking about, and I find it offensive. So I am going to say that it's a great album, that it is sprawling, that it will sneak up on you, and she's taking the same kind of criticism that Fleetwood Mac took when they released Tusk. After Rumors, and everybody's like, what are these idiots thinking? This is this sprawling double album. The songs are all weird. And now most people who care about Fleetwood Mac would say it's their best album. I don't know if this will end up being her best album, but it's really good. I definitely recommend it.
My wife's review was, there's no bangers, but it certainly has a lot of emotion, and it's very well produced. And, you know, she likes some of the songs, but there's none of those like.
And I don't care which of her exes the different songs are about. I don't pay attention to that. I'm not into that. So you don't need to do that to enjoy it.
All right. Well, there's our requisite 2 minutes of
so Taylor Swift and System of a Down. How many people are focused on those two at the same time?
Yeah. Well, I did want to circle back quickly to Yo-Yo Ma. I think we've talked about it before. We've actually had guests from the Washington Performing Arts. It's a nonprofit organization that Gary supports personally, and SVS supports. And there's a recent couple social posts they made where we have donated some speakers to some inner city schools and supported them their music programs with some concerts and other things. And we're trying to get one of the teachers who is in charge of those music programs on the broadcast. We weren't able to this week, but I just like to bring it up because I'm really proud of the work that we're doing and the work that they do to bring that sort of music education and just trying to inspire kids to pursue instruments and singing and all the different elements of music because again, we need to keep making more music and we want to get kids involved in it. And that's part of what my personal passion is. I know Gary's as well. So if you get a chance
I got drawn to Washington Performing Arts because of classical music. You guys may or may not know, I go to a lot of classical music. I'm not just a metalhead or a Taylor Swift head. I am a music nerd. That's what I am. And I can't say I'm proud of it, but it just is what it is. But Nick and I, as we kind of dug into it a little bit, we learned how much good Washington Performing Arts does beyond classical music. And Nick was I said to Nick, I'm not going to drive this ship because I don't think it's completely appropriate for me to say, hey, I love this thing. Sylvia and I, my wife and I sponsor things on it. So I didn't want to lead Nick into it. But Nick got very excited about helping DC Public Schools, which is resource challenged, help music education, help these kids get access to top-notch music education. And we donated Prime Wireless Pro speakers to them, a bunch of them, but we also gave in support of music education and also free concerts. And that's a lot because Nick believes in making the world a better place. I'm not saying that to put a halo on you, Nick. That was the only kind of philanthropy you were really excited about.
No, and if I hadn't attended Axpona, I would have gone to one of those concerts at the schools because I really wanted to see it firsthand. But yeah, just a little passion project we have on the side, and we love to support the WPA and all their efforts to bring music to schools like that. So, but we have actually quite a few events on the horizon. So let's run through those real quick, and then there's a very relevant question that I want to get to right off the jump. Because it plays into a little announcement that we have to make tonight. So let's see. The first event we have is next week, and it is a big one. It is actually the biggest high-end audio show in the entire world. It's called Munich High End, and Gary, Larry, and I will all be attending. And Gary, I don't know, you want to give a little frame up on what that's all about, or talk a little bit about what people can expect if they're going?
I mean, sometimes I say CES is our Super Bowl, and in some ways it is because it's a lot of hard work and it's a very industry-forward event. But, I mean, I guess if I really were to be honest, Munich High End is our Super Bowl. It's a massive deal. We bring Larry out there. Larry's official responsibilities are really supposed to be U.S. only, but Larry's so in demand that he's training people in Canada, Australia, and even places where English is not the first language.
Man, I'm Mr. Worldwide.
And yeah, you are. And now Larry's going to be going to Munich. Nick and I always go. Thomas, who one of these days we got to have Thomas on the show, although it'd be very late for him. But he can
come on and spoil movies for everybody, which is a big joke in our company.
Watch out, because I finished Shogun. I'm going to spoil it for you. Yeah. I know everything.
No, I'm watching it Tuesday, so don't.
Look at Larry. He's cringing now. Take back what you said about Thomas.
No, I won't. He knows I want to punch him in the face for
it. Anyway, yeah, it is our Super Bowl, and we will have a full-on Ultra Evolution 2-channel and home theater system. So I would say let everyone in the SVS community who lives in the U.S. please get on a plane and meet us in Munich, and we will treat you like family as we always do.
Absolutely. No, it's a phenomenal show. The kind of gear that you see there is just out of this world. I mean, it's wild to see all the different brands from around the world come to one place. And yeah, we'll be sharing a lot of social updates. I don't think we'll be doing a happy hour from there just because of the time change. But stay tuned to some of our social feeds, and we'll give some updates from our booth and setup and all those different things.
I mean, if we did a happy hour from there, it would probably have to be at 11 a.m., right? The show closes at 5, or is it 6?
Depends what day. But yeah, I think it
that first day we're having a party. I wonder if it'd be any fun to live stream it. The first day after the show closes, we're having a party for all our international distributors in our booth. Maybe it'd be fun to live stream.
Maybe an abbreviated, version where we're not able to take questions, but we can do a little share. So we'll work out the details there, and we'll make sure we let everyone know. Larry, do you have something there?
We could do a short little tour. I mean, our booth it's really cool. Last year was the first time I went, and I tell people, is like, if you can travel internationally, that's the show to go to if you're a geek, because they do actually open it to the public on the last day or last.
Yeah, it's not just a trade show. That's a great point, Larry. It's an industry event where consumers are welcome.
Yeah. So if you're in the States and want to go to a cool show, you don't want to go to CES or CEDIA as a consumer. You want to go to a show like Expona or M-Wave or Florida Audio Show or Audio Vice Live, something like that, where you get a chance to see a lot of brands that you'll run into here in the States. But if you do happen to go to Munich, you can get some really awesome food.
Hey, let me say to Joe, Joe says, I don't speak German. Listen, I don't speak German either, although my wife is always practicing and learning German before she goes, because she loves to go to Germany. But everybody in Germany speaks English. They're not like us, where we only have English. They speak English, and you will not get confused on the trains. Even I took a train to Belgium for remember the first
ISA,
ISA award where we had to present. I took a train to Belgium from Frankfurt. It was really easy. So I know you're not going to come to Munich just to see us, but if you did, I do recommend Germany. It's a great place.
You got 5 days to plan your trip. No excuses.
Yes.
Right. Well, we have let me just quickly on the events. We'll be able to talk about these on our next happy hour too, but we also have an event, our first retail event for the new Ultra Evolution series speakers at Worldwide Stereo, just outside Philadelphia. That will be on May 30th. We'll be doing a live stream from that event, so you'll be able to join in and be eligible for some giveaways while we're actually hosting that event with Worldwide Stereo. And then shortly after that, we have the home entertainment show out in Costa Mesa, California in early June. And then later in June, Larry will be holding the fort down at M-Wave, which we know so many people have asked. Are you coming to M-Wave?
Boy, a lot of people are asking about M-Wave. It really does. I wasn't sure how big of it. I haven't been to it, so I'm not judging it at all. But really fun I am a believer based on how many people are asking about it.
Yeah, and
we had one live stream last year with M-Wave too.
We did, and I think we'll have to do one there. And I will not be at M-Wave, but we'll figure out a way to pull it off. And a lot of great creators go there, and you tell them, Larry, like the subwoofer love in Kansas City is like I think more so than any other place.
Yeah, I think that's as far as a community that we've been around at an event like this where everyone gets together, and it's like a bunch of guys and gals just wanting to hang out, be together, talk about their systems. They do tours around the neighborhoods and stuff to go show off their systems, hang out afterwards. They go to have meals together and stuff. It's really a cool experience. It's not a huge show. I think there's
it's in Kansas City, by the way. People are asking where is it?
Yeah, Kansas City at the convention center. Nick and I did it last year, and it was the first time we'd done it. And we did I believe a 524 system, and that's what we're going to do this year as well, along with a 2-channel setup. So I'll have almost everything from the new Ultra Evolution line on display for you all to see, and we'll be rocking that ballroom. That's for sure.
Well, we should say, because people are asking, we have Worldwide Stereo in the Philadelphia area, Philadelphia, South Jersey area. We have I don't think it's been scheduled yet, or it has been Electronics Expo in northern New Jersey.
That's coming in July.
It's actually been scheduled, but it will be.
Yep.
So that one will happen. We have
Gramophone
in July
in Timonium, Maryland, which is Baltimore, which also is an easy shot from the DC area where I live. I won't even get a hotel room that night. I'll just come up and go back. That's how close it is to DC. And what there's I feel like there's
Bjorn's down in San Antonio.
Yeah, San Antonio, the legendary Bjorn's in San Antonio, which we love. Those guys are almost like our family, wouldn't you agree? So we're looking forward to that. And there will be more coming. And you will be able to, if you go to any of these, you will be able to. Oh, and didn't we say in the Dallas area we will do Nebraska Furniture Mart in Dallas, and they'll probably do one in Omaha as well for Nebraska Furniture Mart. and Kansas City M-Wave. So we're trying to check every box, and Nick and Larry will be at THE show in Costa Mesa, California. So if you're in the Southern California and LA area, you can hear them. Every one of those shows, we will display as many Ultra Evolution speakers as we can. So I know there's lots of curiosity about them. I have set mine up. Do I get to talk about that at some point? I don't want to mess.
Well, let's first address this. Well, let's do a giveaway. We're a little bit overdue on a giveaway.
I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. I think I drank too much tea.
Well, there's lots to cover. Lots to cover. First giveaway of the evening is our award-winning SB1000 Pro sealed cabinet subwoofer, and the winner of that subwoofer is Joe Peter. Joe Peter, congratulations!
Awesome.
Got some fresh bass on your way.
Yay, Joe! Someone's asking about, are we going to do one in Minneapolis? Yes, we are in talks with Halston, who somebody suggested. We love those folks. They're also we've known them a million years. And so, yes, we will be in Minneapolis for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we have a question here that I think is somewhat germane to the times. Daniel C. asks, when will the Ultra Elevation speaker be available in black ash? And I think he means black oak. And it just so happens that as of today, we now have our SVS Ultra Evolution speakers available in the black oak. Sorry.
Yeah. Just to say, this is a wood grain finish, not a vinyl finish. So it's a beautiful, beautiful wood grain finish, not gloss. When Nick is saying black oak, it is for those folks who don't like gloss finishes, which I love gloss finishes. You can tell from the speakers that we do. Our piano gloss is beautiful. It's 10 coats of hand applied piano lacquer. We do it in black and we do it in white, and I think it's gorgeous. But for folks who don't like the reflection of gloss, we also have black oak, and it is a wood grain oak.
It's real oak veneer.
Yeah,
it's got a decent depth to the grain. I would say maybe a satin level of reflectivity.
That's right.
Black oak actually is very popular with the dedicated home theater crowd, where reflected light and light control and reflection control is really important. And it's also very durable and low maintenance.
Yeah, resistant to fingerprints and dust, and like you said, durable, very low maintenance. And actually, that was the barrier for me to get some Titans into my listening room, which I could not be more excited to add to my system. But Gary, you're making that move soon, or have you already?
Well, I had, as you may remember, I had Ultra Evolution Pinnacle prototypes in a 2-channel and home theater environment. And then I had Ultra Evolution Bookshelf in a 2-channel in my living room. So now I have mass production, which I always want to make sure that mass production is as good or better than the prototypes. It should be better. I have Ultra Evolution Titans where the bookshelves were in my living room. And why? My wife has never let me have tower speakers in my living room ever. And but when she saw the Titans, I got permission, and they look gorgeous in my living room. And maybe on the next happy hour, I could take people on a FaceTime tour and show them my system. But it looks beautiful. It's up against a stone wall, and they just look absolutely gorgeous there. And then in my home theater, you guys may remember that I have, and this is what I recommend. If you have a high-end system, try to have the home theater live in either a bypass circuit or the tape loop if you have an older preamp. Have a pristine 2-channel experience, and then outside of that, have a home theater. That's a way to have a dual purpose and have the true pristine 2-channel experience. So I have Ultra Evolution Pinnacle Towers as my 2-channel setup with a beautiful stack of Mark Levinson separates, a Lynn turntable, which has sounded awesome with the prototypes. And I've just played with now what's there, which is mass production, and they gave me shivers. They sound so great. And then Ultra Evolution, the home theater features Ultra Evolution Center Channel, as you can guess, And then I took out my ultra surround speakers. I saw a question that we did have ultra surround speakers back in the day that were bipole or dipole if you wanted, or could even be separated into two separate speakers. I don't think bipole and dipole is the preferred way most people do it anymore. So what I did was put Ultra Evolution bookshelves as my back surround. My side surrounds, because the room is a little weird, and I'll show everybody with a FaceTime, has Ultra Elevation speakers where my prime elevation speakers were. And then two pairs of Ultra Elevation speakers where my prime elevation speakers were on the ceilings. So it is a, what is that, Ed? 11 point.
I lost track.
Can't count.
Hey, Gary, did you install them yourself, or did you?
Yeah, like 7.1.4 or 7.2.
7.1.4. That's right. 7.1.4. And yeah, here's what I found, Larry. It's a great question because I'm a klutz. I am really good at hookup. Larry, confirm it. I am good at hookup. But
okay,
he didn't say anything.
I said okay. I catch your mistakes way more often than you catch mine. But I'm not good at installing things like hanging them on walls and stuff like that, which, Larry, I know you are and others are. But it was so easy. I just took the Ultra Elevation off the mounting bracket and snapped took the prime elevation off the mounting bracket that was there, snapped the Ultra Elevation right where they were. My son held the speaker while I wired it. I connected the wires and then just snapped it on. It was really, really easy. And I have not had the time yet to do the full Odyssey setup. I have, as people may remember, I have the Denon 110 receiver, which is a wonderful receiver. So I will do that, and I will show everyone on our next happy hour where I'm at my home.
And we did.
I would do that. I would do that giveaway because I have all these one-off speakers that could be interesting. I have one-off beautiful walnut ultra towers that we won't ever sell.
Don't tease them, Gary. You wouldn't part with those.
While you're talking about finishes, is there a plan to do additional finishes on the new Evolution line?
At some point, yes. I think we will. It is an upcharge, but we will.
People are asking,
only one subwoofer.
I got the
yes, blind guy. Only one subwoofer because I like to prove to my friends that you don't need two. And I have a single SB16 Ultra. And if you come over, you will not say I need another subwoofer.
There you go. Well, I wanted to stick with the Ultra Evolution talk here because we got a 5-star review in, and they posted a picture in their review. And I see they have an isolation system here beneath the speaker. So I just wanted to throw it out there.
Not ours, though. Somebody else's, I think.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but you did. So that's fine.
That's fine.
But, first, I think we should address ours will fit our speakers if you did want to use them. But is there any practical reason why you would want to do that given the design of the speakers?
The speakers are designed to be fine without anything else. If you really want the ultimate in decoupling the speaker from the room, use the supplied spikes and you will be fine. I know that, it comes up now and again, would they work well with outriggers, which are these feet that kind of extend out from the speaker and allow you to spike them to those feet. Would they work well with that? Sure. If you want to do that, do it. There are companies that do it. The screw holes. What are those called? I don't remember the name of it. I'm running out of words here.
The threads. Yeah.
The threads are standard. So you could use an aftermarket outrigger, but I'm going to say it's not needed. We played with outriggers multiple, and that's why we didn't do it.
So there's your answer.
And I got a question. Right? Can I answer the question I just saw? I'm watching them fly by. Great comments here. Does the speaker setup need to vary for classical music versus heavy metal? You didn't mention Taylor Swift. It sounds like you're not worried about whether Taylor Swift sounds good on them. And what I love about these speakers, I have never seen speakers of any brand where you didn't want to steer away from certain demo content, not because it sounds bad, but because it doesn't necessarily show the speakers in their absolute best light. These are the first speakers I've encountered in my life where every kind of content shows them in their absolute best light. So they play classical music beautifully. They play metal, classic rock, acoustic music, jazz. And guys, support me in this. Larry, stop undermining me. You know I listen to every type of music. There's no type of music, hip hop, Kendrick Lamar, all that. I do that as well. And I have not heard anything that didn't sound great on these speakers.
No, he's right. We've been throwing all kinds of stuff at it. And if you've been to our shows, we try not to do any of the generic demos you hear from a lot of other rooms. We don't play soft, hard.
We play music people actually like to listen to.
Yeah. And we were in the Florida audio show, and a guy came in wearing some metal shirts, and we sat there for like 30 minutes because it was kind of quiet on the last day, just cranking stuff. Or before the show starts, another band that was at Sick New World was Ice Nine Kills, and I've gotten really heavy into them, and I was playing some of their stuff on it, and really been blown away by the flexibility of the speakers, because there is content that you'll listen to on certain speakers that they're like, oh my gosh, this is awful, I can't do this. But we haven't found that here yet, and I think that's been quite a bit of fun.
Not only they're just I would say our speakers, nothing ever sounded awful in the other speakers, but there's some content that shows them off better than others, and these speakers just do not care what they play. I just love that about Ultra Evolution. They just are really totally agnostic. And where I learned it was the hard way. I don't want to tell stories twice. I think I already told this on a previous Happy Hour. I'll say it very briefly. When we went to, I was asked to go to Germany, Frankfurt, Germany, and show the speakers to the German audio press and to key German dealers by our German distributor, who is a big, strong man and will beat me up if I don't do it. So I did it. Jack Grigg, he's a legend in Germany. He's been speakers for 30 years in Germany. So he asked me to come because he fell in love with Ultra Evolution, and he's like, these need to be shown by you to the German press and to key dealers, which I did do. And I brought the demo material that Larry has and that I use and we've arrived at that works well for U.S. audiences, but the German audiences had no interest in the demo material I brought. And since we had Qobuz, we were able to demo whatever anyone asked for. And it was scary. I felt like I was walking on a tightrope, but it went absolutely great. Everything sounded great.
Well, I'll add a thought there, just because at Expona, I feel like we were one of the only brands taking requests. And that's part of what makes it fun is you can go there and hear something that you want to listen to, that you will assess the speaker based on how many times you've heard that track and what you know to be truth in that music. And so we were actually getting some props from people like, you guys are brave. Like, nobody takes requests. And, occasionally there'll be a very poorly recorded track that comes through, but I found it better
if it's
for
poorly recorded. It shows
music.
that. It doesn't show. Yeah.
Right.
It can't fix something that's broken.
No.
Yes, Phil, we played Rammstein there in Germany. We played Rammstein.
Yes, we did.
We really did.
So anyways, if you come to our shows, bring some requests, because I love discovering new music that way. And I have a whole playlist now of just suggestions that we got from Expona. So I'm excited to share that out.
There's a couple questions
some Q&A here. Go ahead, Larry.
There's a lot of questions coming through on like the UK and European release on the Evolution line.
Well, we did there.
Correct? Yeah, it's there for most.
They got them at the very beginning of April. And let me say this. In Europe, for the most part, they don't particularly want American brand speakers. Germans like German brand speakers for the most part. Not 100%, but UK, they love those British speaker brands and so on. And most of the cross-pollination between brands is brands in Europe or from Europe, not so much American brands. So imagine my happiness when our first mass production run of Ultra Evolution completely sold out in Europe, and they're waiting now for the second run. So yes, they're there. They're available in Europe. And there's a whole nother tranche of them coming in the next 3 days, I believe, coming to our, we have a warehouse in Netherlands. They'll come to Netherlands and then go out to the different countries in Europe.
And I think Munich is only going to increase that demand. So we couldn't be more excited to bring them out there and show them off in person. But we do owe the people a giveaway. So let us do a pair of Prime bookshelf speakers. And the winner of those Prime Bookshelf speakers is going to be tonight Kevin Fowler. Kevin Fowler.
Congratulations.
But I got really excited about Ultra Evolution. So can we upgrade Kevin to Ultra Evolution bookshelf speakers?
Kevin, you let us know if that's okay with you, Kevin. And we'll have Vince reach out to you and clarify. But I don't think that's going to be a problem with
I think Kevin's going to
Ultra Evolution bookshelf speakers. You are going to love them.
Slam dunk.
Wow, look at that. All right, well, let's get to some questions here. And we're going to do a non-evolution question here from Michael M. And he's asking about, is there an ideal spacing in terms of the distance between the two Prime Wireless Pro speakers? We have the 10-foot cable. Is there a scenario where it should be wider or less? And, what is that ideal spacing?
Can you, I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. Somebody compared me with Oprah. And one difference is I have not taken Ozempic.
You jump in on that one.
I think the 10-foot cable covers virtually all applications because the Prime Wireless Pro is generally used in a mid-sized room, and we typically don't have our normal speakers more than 10 feet apart.
I've almost never had speakers more than 10 feet apart. Yeah. Almost never. It doesn't work because here's the problem with it. The further apart the speakers are set, the harder it is for them to work together to create a convincing stereo image. And so it's way better to keep it 10 feet or less. Now, the reason we chose that length for the cable is we thought it would satisfy everybody. And I take the point that not every single person is satisfied with 10 foot. And I believe we created some options for people.
We do. We have longer cables available for those, sort of outlier applications where you really do need to have them, 15 or 20 feet apart.
Or if you need to run it behind the wall or something.
Right. But if they're too far apart, like conventional speakers, you start to lose the sound stage and there's a little bit of a hole in the middle. So I would say the guidelines for spacing Prime Wireless Pro is the same as we would have for our normal speakers.
Yeah. Mine are here on my desk and they're literally just outside my arm's width on my desk.
Mine too. I got a pair right here.
But it kind of depends on how far you're sitting away too, right? Like
sure does.
Right next to them, you're not going to put them 10 feet away, like Larry.
Further than 10 feet apart, even if you're, unless it's just an absolutely massive room, it's going to have some issues. I will say and I just had some people commenting, where were we, Nick? It must have been Expona, where people were telling me, I have these speakers in a huge room and I cannot believe how they fill the room up. It was Prime Wireless Pro. And I'm like, okay, that's really gratifying to hear that.
All right, well, let's stick with Prime Wireless Pro. We have a sound-based question, and Larry, I think you can answer this one. Somebody is trying to play Spotify and Apple Music with Playfi's critical listening mode, which is the ultra-high-res lossless. Why can't they do that?
So I'll start with Apple Music. Apple doesn't tend to play nice with a lot of streaming style products. So in that case, you would use AirPlay 2. And then that would give you the 16-bit Apple quality music. In regards to Spotify, it's kind of a similar thing. You can use high res, but you're going to do it through Spotify Connect, which operates in a very similar format. Playfi would use really everything else. It's those two formats, though, Apple Music and Spotify, that kind of have their own interface for multi-room, multi-zone streaming. And so if you do Spotify Connect, there's a little icon in the top corner, just like AirPlay. You drop it down, you can choose where you would like to send it. Under the Playfi umbrella, you can use your Pandora, Qobuz, Amazon Music. You can go on, Sirius Satellite Radio, and so on.
And files, and also files.
Yeah, and if you stick a thumb drive in the back of your system, you can play that too.
Well, I think what we did that I think really made the product much more versatile was enabling, as you say, Larry, AirPlay 2 and Google's Cast for Android phones. AirPlay 2 obviously is for iPhones. And by doing that, you don't have to worry about what app you want to use or what app other family members want to use. They don't want to learn, if they don't want to learn a new app, which our Playfi app I think is fun to use, but some people don't want to learn a new app to listen to music. They can use their app that they're used to and just use AirPlay 2 or Cast, and they get CD quality. So it doesn't sound like Bluetooth, which is compressed and not anywhere near CD quality. The benefit is obvious to anyone. And then for folks like you and me who are excited about hearing high res over Wi-Fi, then you use our PlayFi app.
We did have a question from a customer recently on critical listening mode, and he's using Qobuz, and he could not get it to play back in 24.192, and we did some troubleshooting with him. And just a tip to the audience, if you're running Qobuz, you need to go into the Qobuz app and set that up for high resolution for Wi-Fi and mobile. And then also within PlayFi, select Qobuz as a source and set that up for 24.192 high res as well. And then bingo, it started playing back in high resolution, and he was just super thrilled. So,
and you'll need to do that with all the streaming services.
You sure do. Yep. And we can walk you through that if you're having issues, but critical listening mode is absolutely worth it. High res is worth it. It's an amazing and obvious improvement over the, even CD quality, and a massive improvement over, something like Bluetooth.
Yeah, it is an improvement. And I actually had the challenge from my wife. I'm like, she was connecting via Bluetooth, and I said, look, AirPlay 2 is super easy. Just do that at minimum. And she sort of like, prove it, prove it's better. I don't believe you. Like, I think people think Bluetooth is absolutely perfect. How could it not be? It connects with my phone. It's digital.
It's awful.
So I proved it. I was like, I'll do AirPlay 2. Just the jump from Bluetooth to CD quality. She was like, okay, show me how I do AirPlay 2. And yep. Obviously it's very easy. Yeah. And she has not looked back from AirPlay 2 after I showed her.
Do you guys all have like those little smart aleck kids too, like I do? They're like, I don't believe you. I'm smarter than you because, I grew up in tech. And then I'm like, okay, let's do the same thing. And they connect to Bluetooth. I say, now walk downstairs. And it just disappears. And so that's when I'll bring up AirPlay, because as long as you're on the same network, your AirPlay is going to work.
I'm getting heckled that I have trust issues in my marriage. I think this is
I have thick skin on that.
I don't see how I walked into that.
All right, I've seen a couple questions about upcoming reviews for the Ultra Evolution series, and I promise we are not shielding these from reviewers. We've had just a ton of customer orders that we've had to fill, and I've heard the name Aaron's Audio Corner because I know he does measurements. He will be getting some, as well as the Stereophile and some others. So by all means, keep your eyes peeled for upcoming reviews. And I actually caught a little teaser, a little slice of Ultra Evolution pinnacles in the edges of a Digital Trends video review on a Hisense TV. So they have some in the house too. So there's just a matter of time before you start seeing those hit. But again, we want to make sure we take care of the owners first, and that's been our priority. But they are coming, and I promise you there'll be lots to talk about over here the coming weeks and months. So we have a subwoofer question here. Stephen is the new owner of an SB2000 Pro, and he previously owned an SB2000, which is still in his system. Any tips we can give him to blending those two together, or just leave the Pro in default and they'll sort of naturally blend? Ed, maybe that's a good one for you.
Well, if they're on the same wall, I would say leave the Pro in the factory default mode and simply level match the two. If they're on opposite walls, opposite diagonal or midpoints of the side walls, then obviously we want to look at phasing and time alignment to get the two subs playing nice together. And we can assist him with that. He just has to reach out to our team of sound experts, and we'll set up a phone call or a video consultation and get him squared away.
Yep. So rerun calibration, obviously, and then anything that sounds like it might be off, just reach out to our team and we can give you some of those tips to make sure it gets sounding like it should. All right. I've seen a couple questions here. One from Gary L, not Gary Y, about speaker break-in, and whether, I think we've talked about this before, but specifically with the new speakers here. Do we believe that's a thing? Should people be running pink noise through these and giving them 50 hours of continuous playback in order to make them sound their best? What's the thought process here?
I'm going to say this is one where I have had fun conversations with people whose opinions I do respect about this topic. Speaker break-in to me is highly overrated, but also very important. Why? Because number one, if speaker break-in were such a thing that after 20 hours of pink noise, the speaker actually changed, then what would happen after 5 years? I mean, I think there'd be nothing left of your speaker but a stain on the carpet, if that's really true. So I think if there's any change, it's so minor that it's hardly worth mentioning, in my opinion. This is my opinion. However, I have told Ed in the past to go ahead and advocate for speaker break-in for the simple reason that we have found, and I know this even about myself, when you get used to the sound of the existing speakers that you own and you get new speakers, everything sounds a little bit foreign and you kind of go, well, something doesn't sound right. Well, it's because your ears have been trained by your previous speakers. So if you live with the new speakers, and I'm not just talking about SVS, if you live with the new speakers for a couple of weeks, you will believe they broke in, but what really broke in is your ears. That's my opinion.
New is not always better. That's how I address it. And you just need to give your ears and your auditory memory time to acclimate to the new sound. And it's the same applies to subwoofers. Switching to a more accurate subwoofer. Wow, where did the mid bass go, or the punch is gone? Well, no, your current sub was boomy in one note and now it's not. So you're reacting sort of negatively to that initially, but give it a couple weeks, go back to the old sub, and you'll be like, ugh, it's awful. The same thing with loudspeakers. You switch to a better loudspeaker, give yourself time to adapt, and then switch back to the original one, and you'll see the benefits of the better one that you're currently listening to.
By the way, there's a couple questions here about, okay, then what do you do at SVS to make sure that the speaker or subwoofer is performing properly? And I can say to you, SVS community, I believe we are the only brand who works within anywhere near our price ranges where every single speaker and subwoofer that we make is individually tested for correct performance, frequency response, all those things. Now, I think every manufacturer does some form of spot testing. Pick one or two out of 10. We test every single speaker and subwoofer for proper performance. Air leaks in subwoofer. Air leaks are the biggest enemy of a subwoofer. If it's leaking air, it's not going to make accurate bass. So we test for air leaks. We test for proper performance. We test for frequency response. You can feel confident that your product has been tested.
All right. Joel S. asks, he had a friend over who's a commercial.
You're probably right about Magnapans, Boomer. I know that's a company that has the same level of rigor.
Just having a conversation with a random commenter. That's cool.
No, man, he said Magnapans are all tested. I believe him.
Yeah, that's all good. Joel S. asks, he had a sound engineer friend over who looked at his setup and mentioned that having a subwoofer plugged into a power conditioner is a big no-no. Has anyone heard this before? This is news to me.
I have.
What's the deal?
It depends on the power conditioner. Some of them do not have what's called a high power or a high current outlet, and they're only rated for a few amps. And if you plug your high power, high performance sub into one of those, it can throttle the amplifier and degrade the performance and prevent it from making peak power. So if you're going to connect your sub, especially one of ours, to a power conditioner, make sure it has high power, high current outlets. They'll be labeled on there, and those will support, the full 15 amps of the AC outlet, and there'll be no performance degradation.
There you go. All right. Robert M. asks, are we able to buy amp the new Ultra Evolution speakers? We do sell by-wire cables after all. Larry, what's the answer?
Yes, to all of them other than the Elevation and the Evolution Tower.
No, it's the Evolution
Tower. Sorry, not that.
Is,
sorry, the Nano. Sorry, my bad.
The smaller.
Nano. My bad. Misspoke. So,
and the only reason the
Yeah.
Ultra Elevation is not by wireable, by ampable, is because we know it's going to be hung on the wall, and that's just too kludgy.
Right.
So Brady D wants to know, will the new SVS in-wall subwoofer match with his existing cylinder subwoofer? Is there any way he can get those two to play nice together if he really wants to add an in-wall?
Please don't do it, is my real answer. If you're going to do the in-wall subwoofer, the purpose of it is so you don't see the subwoofer. So why would you then also have a cylinder? But I guess that's you know what? I would say call Ed's team, because maybe there's something about the installation that is specific to you that you need to just kind of work through with us. Ed and his team are working 7 days a week, taking your calls, doing chats, even doing what do you call it when they can use their phone to show you what they're doing?
Like a video consultation. We call it Screen Meet, but it's like Zoom or MS Teams, and they can use their mobile phone and reverse the camera and show us around the room, and we can look for at placement and mounting solutions and
so we can answer all your questions. And we can even you can show us your space, show us some hookup issue, and we can walk you through.
I would agree with Gary though. The 3000 in wall and one of our powered cylinders, which is ported, there are two different types of subwoofers, one sealed, one ported. We generally don't recommend mixing them. If you do want to undertake that, it'll be sort of a higher level tech support. It'd be something that I would probably get involved in, and we can work on phasing and placement and time alignment and get the two
and plugging the ports.
We can. Yep, we can plug the ports on the PC as well.
Yeah, we always see a ton of questions of, can I mix this SVS subwoofer with that one or this brand with SVS? And the answer is reach out to Ed's team and they'll get you as close as possible if you have no other option. But the best option is always going to be matching.
I mean, there are a couple of watchwords I would say. Number one is you're better off not putting multiple brands in the same system. You're better off. And am I advocating for SVS? Well, I do work here, but I'm more really saying, if you have an SVS subwoofer and you have another brand subwoofer, don't put them in the same system. And then the other thing I would say is, even within the same brand, I wouldn't put a sealed subwoofer and a ported subwoofer in the same system, because it's not that you'll get the strengths of sealed and the strengths of ported in the same system. In fact, you will get you'll get kind of multiple disadvantages of the two.
They don't get
You're better off doing one or the other.
All right, we have a time for a couple more questions here. First one is, are we phasing out the original Ultra Series? The answer is yes, they've been phased out, but you can still find some new in the box in our outlet. So if you wanted to pick up a pair of Ultra bookshelves to match with some other speakers you have, you can still find a few, but not for very long. So snatch them up while you can. We have another question here, and this one, Larry, I think you got. Carl is asking, are the pairs of Ultra Evolution speakers match to each other? So I think that means, can we timbre match with other speakers within?
No, I think I know what the person's asking. They're asking, do we match the frequency response specifically and match a pair together, which was something I've seen done in the past. I don't know if other brands are still doing it, but we prefer to. What we do is match the frequency response to what we call a golden sample.
Yep.
And so they're all matched to one perfect speaker that measures perfect. And then you don't need to worry about having a matched pair.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
There's your answer.
That's a great question. That's a really good question, because I know that was a thing in high-end speakers, but we think it's more workable to match every speaker to the golden sample.
And they are timbre matched across lines too, within the SVS product line too.
All right, last one. I've seen this one pop up a bunch just because we have 3 towers in the Ultra Evolution line. People want to know, how big is the difference in terms of low frequency output when you go from the Pinnacle to the Titan to the Tower? And, what are people really going to notice by making those steps up from
you're going to lose a little bit of bass. You're going to lose a little bit of dynamics, but they're voiced very similarly. And we took extra time with the Ultra Evolution Tower, which is the smallest tower, because we wanted it to deliver shockingly good bass relative to the other 2 towers. They're all 3 really good. So the primary reason why you would pick one or the other is budget. Obviously, we know everybody has different budgets, and Also, in a situation where the size of the speaker might not be practical in certain rooms, then you probably would choose a smaller speaker. But I'm pretty freaking happy with the Ultra Evolution Pinnacle, and I would put it anywhere I could. But I didn't put it in my living room because it's just a little too big for a living room, whereas the Titan looks beautiful there. I'll show everybody on the next happy hour.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to do some room tours when I get my Titans in as well, and show off the new systems. I think that would be a lot of fun. All right. Well, before we do our final giveaway, just to recap, next week we will be in Munich, Germany. So if anyone is heading out there, please stop by and visit us for a demonstration and hang out. We'll be there the entire week from Thursday to Sunday. So check us out there. A bunch of other events coming up as well that we'll have listed on the site here. Final giveaway of the evening is a PB1000 Pro subwoofer with a SoundPath Subwoofer Cable. And before I announce the winner, thank you for all the awesome questions. You guys were really bringing the fire tonight.
Really good group here, asking great questions,
yeah,
not pulling punches. I love it.
And my colleague Eli works behind the scenes to pull these questions. So we always have a backlog. So don't think they're just going into some void. We will try to get to them at an upcoming broadcast. But the winner of the PB1000 Pro subwoofer with the SoundPath Subwoofer Cable is Don Nagel Jr. Don Nagel Jr., congrats.
Congratulations, Don.
That makes me happy. Don has been a longtime supporter of SVS, and Don lives in Youngstown. Don, I know who you are.
Well, there you go. So our random selector chose a hometown boy. So thank you to Don, and thank you to everyone else for tuning in. Have happy listening over the next few weeks. We look forward to coming back. I believe our next broadcast will be in 2 weeks, unless we can pull something off in Munich. But other than that, we will check in with you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, everybody. Great being with you.